Hello everybody and welcome to another Channel 8 sports presentation. This afternoon at East Brunswick High School's J. Doyle Field, it is football as East Brunswick meets Sayreville in a Greater Middlesex Conference Red Division game. Hi, I'm Jimmy Allinder. I'm being joined by Phil Hill. And Phil, the opponent this afternoon, Sayreville, is undefeated.
Undefeated, and I tell you, not such a surprise. You got to remember, Jim, that they won 3 of their 4 last games last year, and the only loss out of that group was a 36-29 overtime loss to East Brunswick. So this is a team that's certainly on a roll.
I'll say. Go ahead.
They've beaten up on J.P. Stevens, Bishop R, and a very good Colonia team. And what you're going to see today, Jim, is the Delaware Wing T, an exciting offense that is based on deception, basically. Not a whole lot of size for this Bomber team, but a very well-coached team.
Well, meanwhile, though, East Brunswick has bounced back nicely from that opening season loss to Bridgewater. They've beaten J.P. Stevens and Edison in successive weeks. What can we expect from the Bears today?
I'll tell you, the Bears are playing very well offensively. Defensively, you got to be a little concerned about their pass defense. This Bomber team can run very well, but they also can pass, and I think the pass defense might be what concerns Marcus. The thing here is you had Sean Corio run for 117 yards last week. Scott Hobbs doing an excellent job on the read offensively. So I think the offense is coming around. Again, defensively, they got to be concerned.
Well, another point is the fact that in the J.P. Stevens game, we saw little nice things about the passing game, obviously from Scott Hobbs to Brian American. Can we expect that today?
I think you're going to see Marcus pull out all the stops there. I think basically what you're going to see is a lot of the glitz and blitz of the Bombers wing T, and then I think you're going to see more power, ball controlled by the Bears there. Jim, I want to say something about where the Bears are. You can't tell a whole lot about any team until the 3rd or 4th game of the season. Who would have thought that Old Bridge would be 0-3 at this juncture, and many people had them posted as the #1 team in the county, and we should know better after all these years. You can't tell a whole lot about a team until about the 4th game.
Well, that being the case, this is East Brunswick 2-1, Sayreville 3-0, both teams with winning records. But the thing is that East Brunswick has a decided advantage over Sayreville in the series. I think it's something like 17-2. Maybe even more than that, but regardless, it's going to be, we hope, a competitive game. It is homecoming this afternoon, so we're going to have a lot of activity during halftime we can report. So it is East Brunswick versus Sayreville football here at J. Doyle Field. We'll be ready to begin the action in just a moment. Good afternoon and welcome back to J. Doyle Field, where you see the captains from East Brunswick and Sayreville's football team.
You got Scott Hobbs and Chris Bettis, of course, the captains for the Bears, and I believe you got Dusty Kemple, Omar Joseph, and that big shadow you see there, number 72, is Joe Ladino, 290 pounds, Jim.
Junior.
Junior, and nose guard at that. So that's going to be interesting. The 4th captain I can't pick up right now. But, Jim, it's going to be interesting to see who wins this toss.
All right, let's see what happens. No, the official has not notified us who won the coin toss. All right, Sayreville has deferred to the second half.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been happening an awful lot lately. So East Brunswick, of course, will receive to begin this game. Statistically interesting, something that was sent to us. In the 3 games that East Brunswick has played, though, if you add up the total scoring, the Bears have been outscored 79-64. So, and we saw that liability last week against Edison, where I don't know the quarterback's name for the Eagles, but he did a heck of a job.
Frank, I believe, but yeah. He just he did a unbelievable job to be rolling out constantly under pressure.
And you think it was more his performance, or do you think it was the East Brunswick secondary?
Well, what you got to remember, Jim, this East Brunswick Bear team lost 8 defensive backs from last year. 2 of them super. Of course, you had an all-stater in Kilkenny, and then you had Rich Whalen, who second on the all-time tackles for the Bears in his career. So they lost a lot in that secondary. So they have some talent back there, but they're young guys.
And back there for East Brunswick, 3 of the primary backs you see on the screen: Adam Petty, Sean Corio, who is the leading ball carrier for the Bears, and Jason Brenner, number 42, Petty 9, and Corio, the deep back, 29. They are 3 of the primary backs that East Brunswick will use in its offense. Still waiting for Sayreville to come onto the field. That aggressiveness of the East Brunswick line certainly will be important today as well.
I think so. We mentioned Joe Ladino being a big man, and Piccaro's a big guy, but after that, they're not terribly huge.
Okay. Should be a good game. Certainly Sayreville wants to continue its unbeaten scheme. They are, I believe, still a Group 4 team. We have to check that out, Phil.
Well,
I believe
they're in the white division.
They are in the white division, but that's only for the GMC purposes. I believe they are a Group 4 school, and as such are honing in on the qualifying for the Central Jersey Group 4 playoffs, as is East Brunswick. Okay, we're underway.
Don Bell kicking off, a short kick.
Really taken right up. So East Brunswick is going to have that Sarapin with the ball.
I'll tell you, excellent field position. You got to wonder what Sayreville's thinking. I mean, we don't have any lethal weapons back there in the kick return. So to give the Bears such excellent field position, you got to wonder what the Bombers are thinking.
And that ball is on the 43-yard line, let's call it. First down for East Brunswick as we begin here on this beautiful afternoon. This being homecoming, a nice crowd continuing to come in. And why do we have a timeout here?
Shane?
Don't know.
The clock, they want 7:52 on the clock instead of 7.
No, I can't imagine why.
No.
That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
All right, they believe that only 6 seconds should have gone off the clock. It says 11:43 right now. Should be 11:54.
Well, I'll tell you, you're right, Jim. Very unusual to start a game.
Yeah.
It's advantage to know when to rush the clock at this juncture.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Jim, it'd be interesting. The Bears seem to be coming out in a different formation.
You've noticed that.
They not coming out in the traditional E-bone.
All right.
Also known as the wishbone, but which tells me they may be coming out ready to pass on the first series.
I would think so. We saw that success with Petty American out there, so let's see what happens. And the twosome are flanked near to our screen. And we're still not underway.
This game will get off sooner or later, I believe.
Okay. Scott Hops, a 6'2", 180-pound senior, takes it himself and gets about 2 yards before he's gang tackled.
I'll tell you.
There's one of the Piccaros.
I'll tell you, Nick Piccaro, you're going to hear a lot about him. 6'3", 200-pound senior, and defensive tackle. He's going to be in a lot of plays. Good ball player.
Well, East Brunswick certainly has to test the middle of that Sayreville line. If the passing game is going to work, they need to establish some semblance of a running game.
Well,
2nd down and 8. Hops under center. And ball to Corio. He's got room. Nice run, almost a first down.
I'll tell you. And Sean Corio, a very nice run, Jim. As I told you, against Edison, Corio ran for 117 yards on 14 carries. And I said last week that Marcus was looking for a back to break out of the pack, and Corio appears to be that back.
Phil, if we've noticed one thing in the 2 wins for East Brunswick, they have had a dependable and consistent rushing game.
That's for sure.
3rd down and 2, let's call it. Ball's on about the Sayreville 47-yard line.
This is Bettis.
Give to Corio again. He gets enough. About 4 yards on the play, and that'll be a first down for East Brunswick. Good surge by the East Brunswick line. We mentioned that would be an important item for the Bears.
Well, they've been doing the job, Jim. As you mentioned, the last 2 games, the E-bone has really been doing a nice job. You got people in there. You got Adam Goldstein, Brian Mineta, Anthony Alexander, Pete Borden. Those guys are doing a job up front.
Okay, first down for East Brunswick. Ball on the 44-yard line to Sayreville. Just underway here. Hops gets it to Corio, but not much running room.
And Corio swarmed under.
He completed the pass, but Corio caught it about the line of scrimmage and ambled for
Scott
what, 3
Hops
yards?
had pressure on him, Jim, and really was in the grasp when he got that ball off, and they picked up no yardage.
9:30 left to go in the first period. No score between East Brunswick and Sayreville. Greater Middlesex Conference game. I said red division game, Phil, but I'm not quite sure. This Sayreville's part of the white division now.
Yes, they are.
East Brunswick red division, so we'll call it an interdivisional game. Still, they all count towards state playoffs. Second down and 8 yards to go for East Brunswick as they move in this first period of action.
And again, a different look. Now, once again, the Bears.
Hops pitches to Corio. Nice move by the junior. And gets about another 7 or 8 yards.
I'll tell you, hey, you like the one thing, Jim, you know, there's been a lot of talk about speed and lack of speed on this team. They talk about Scott Hops certainly not having the speed of a Colheim or a Kilkenny, but if you don't have the speed, you better have the read. And Scott Hops has been doing an excellent job reading in the E-bone.
Well, Sean Corio as well came into this game averaging 64 yards a game. He had that 117 last week against Edison, and looks good. So it's third down and about 3 yards. Hops caught, though, behind the line of scrimmage.
And I'll tell you, number 80 on the tackle there.
That's Picaro.
Picaro, that's the other Picaro.
Okay. And a loss of 2 on that play, or 3, let's say. Brings it back to the 38-yard line. It is fourth down and 4 yards to go.
That's Vinny Picaro on that tackle.
Good success for the Bears on the right side of the Sayreville line. You think they might go there? Well, actually, they're going to punt the ball.
It's fourth down.
Interesting. That's Bettis back there. He's been punting all season long.
He doesn't want to kick this in the end zone, Jim.
And he doesn't want to kick it to Omar Joseph, number 1, the deep back for the Bombers. Boy, he had a lot of room on this side, Phil. That's Joseph fielding it.
Oh,
excuse me, not at all.
I'll tell you, excellent tackle.
Right.
That's Serapin. And Joel Serapin, I'll tell you, he may not lead the team in tackles, but he certainly comes up with the biggest plays. Serapin, a young man that already has a scholarship offer to James Madison in Virginia.
All right.
And like I said, he may not lead the team, but he comes up with the biggest hits.
Well, that was John Newber, one of the deep backs for Sayreville, we should see this afternoon, who carried it. And the tackle by Serapin on the 11-yard line gives Sayreville its first possession of the afternoon. That is Dusty Kemple.
And here
at
comes
quarterback. And look at this split.
That's the wing T.
Ball out to Joseph, and he gets it wide all the way up to the 25, 26-yard line. And the Sayreville speed.
I'll tell you, Omar Joseph, Jim, seems like we've been looking at him forever, certainly since his freshman year. I think he got some play on the varsity team. And when we talked in the beginning of years of outstanding backs coming back, Omar Joseph was about the only one we could think of for the county.
He is a junior and scrambled for 15 yards on that play for a first down for Sayreville.
And you're looking at the Delaware wing T. It's a 4-back offense and a lot of deception in this offense here. They do basically the same thing.
Kemple calling signals. Give to Joseph again. No, I'm sorry. Wow. It's Newber this time.
Okay, John Newber, the small fullback, 165 pounds for a fullback, Jim. I know you got faked out this time.
I sure did.
That's the nature of the Delaware wing T. A lot of deception, misdirection, traps, and they do a lot of different angle blocking.
Well, East Brunswick's going to have to figure this out. That was a gain of 9 yards for Newber. Brings up a 2nd and 1 for Sayreville. About 6.5 minutes left to go in the first period. No score. Newber keeps.
Fakes.
And he's got room. He keeps it himself and has enough for the first down. Gets it across the 43-yard line.
And that's Serapin on the tackle. But I tell you, Scott Hops was just about to close in, and someone really threw a block on him, Jim.
And somebody for East Brunswick almost had Newber in the backfield. I don't know. I think that was Leota that had some penetration.
And again, you take a look at the wing T, Jim. They have the fullback lined up directly in back of the quarterback. They have 2 backs split out on the wings, and the quarterback's an option himself there, so you got 4 backs, and they'll utilize all those backs.
Second first down for the Bombers. Ball on the 42-yard line. First down. Give is to somebody. Doesn't get much.
And that's Nuber, I believe. Again,
Okay.
Nuber's a tough kid, not big for a fullback. You really usually don't think of a fullback at 165 pounds, but apparently he's doing the job.
Gain of 1 for Nuber. Makes it 2nd and 9. This ball's on the 42-yard line of Sayreville. If you just joined us, East Brunswick had the ball in initial possession. One first down, gave the ball up on punt to the 11-yard line, and Sayreville's had it since. Nuber steps back to pass, being rushed by Leota, and closing in is Hops.
Oh, yes.
Good tackle there.
I'll tell you, textbook.
2 quarterbacks meeting.
I'll tell you, got Hops, Leota, and number 8.
That was Hops.
Of course.
Yes. Gain of about 5 on the play, maybe 6. Brings up a 3rd down and 3. Ball's on the 48.
And I tell you, see Scott Hops come up. It shouldn't be a surprise. He was an all-conference linebacker last year. Had 14 tackles in the first game against Bridgewater, so likes to hit.
All righty. Nuber's deep back, as is Joseph. Ball given to Joseph, and he has, well, it's going to be close. Let's see where they mark it. And judging from where that ball has landed, it looks like he has enough for the first down.
Awfully close, Jim. I don't know. Corio coming up to make the tackle there.
You're right. They're going to have, this is going to be close. A lot of misdirection with that wing tee.
Talk to George Nadar. What he said is the wing tee is an offense designed for deception. If you don't have a lot of size, then you better be deceptive. And he brought this attack with him from Brooklyn, and where they used it a lot, and was pleased to find out that there are not a whole lot of teams using the wing tee in this area.
Well, Joseph, I'm sorry.
Felt it would be to his advantage.
Well, Joseph did have enough for the first down, just by the nose of the football, actually, and that is the 3rd first down in this drive for Sayreville, which started on the 11-yard line. 4:15 left to go in the first period, no score. Sayreville and East Brunswick in this homecoming game. Crowd starting to come in now. We have a nice one.
And once again, Jim, they line up the same, but they do everything off the same formation. Oh.
Number 32 dodges a number of tackles. That's Dave Gangadal, a 5'8", 165-pound junior.
And I'll tell you, I'm trying to see who slowed him down there, Jim.
Well, I'll tell you what, the East Brunswick defense now is starting to get a little bit of penetration.
I'll tell you, and that's what you got to do. That was Bettis and Serpent there, but in order to deal with this wing tee, you got to disrupt it. And what you're going to see is a lot of what they call jamming. They're going to be blitzing in there to try to disrupt the flow of the wing tee.
Now, what concerns me is the breakaway ability of Joseph. He could get outside. He's gone. 2nd down and 10. Nuber back to pass. And a little overthrown. That ball intended for number 37, John Bell.
And you're right, he overthrew him. And again, the nature of the wing tee, they can do an awful lot off it, Jim. But I'll tell you this here, for all the talk we've done about the wing tee, the Bears have handled it as well as the Bombers have handled the E-bone.
All right, timeout, official timeout on the field. Let's see, what is it for? Oh, okay. I think maybe the clock was running. 3rd down and 10 for Sayreville. They're at midfield. Nuber.
Screen.
But well covered by East Brunswick. Corio in on that one.
I'll tell you, super job.
Excellent discipline by the East Brunswick defense, particularly Sean Corio.
I'll tell you can talk about discipline, and that's what it takes to deal with this offense there. And Marcus has this team well prepared, Jim.
Well prepared, and an increasingly more confident East Brunswick
team.
That's
for sure.
So that loss of about 8 yards is going to bring up a 4th and, well, let's call it 4th and 17. Ball is on the Sayreville 44-yard line. Petty is back deep for East Brunswick. as is Brian Merrigan. Kemple gets it off. That's Petty. He's going to run it. And gets maybe a couple of yards before he's brought down. And so East Brunswick will start its second possession on the 25-yard line.
And Vinny Percaro making the tackle there. But again, a nice defensive stand for the Bears there, taking the Bombers out of the game there. And if you're Marcus Borden, you got to be feeling pretty good right now.
I want to apologize. I may have called Dusty Kemple John Newber, the quarterback, but that is Dustin Kemple quarterbacking for Sayreville, number 12. But East Brunswick is back on offense. And with just a minute 58, they will take over on their own 26-yard line. Hops under center. First down for the Bears. There's the pass.
Oh, mercy.
A little overthrown.
Mercy.
And it looks like number 84 for East Brunswick was open, if they could have just connected.
Let's find out who that is.
Jason Saunders.
Jason Saunders, and you're right, wide open, and Scott Hops just overthrew him.
So they'll bring it back to the line of scrimmage, make it second down and 10. The clock continues to run, a minute and 30 left in the first period, no score. And official timeout again. We have had more stoppages of play.
Well, you know, Jim, I think it's just an awfully nice day, and these officials aren't used to having such great weather, so they want to enjoy it as long as they can.
We're going to extend this as well. We're going to have a longer halftime program, this being homecoming. All right, we're about to get underway again here. Second down and 10 for the East Brunswick Bears. Hops calling signals. Pitch out. That's Corio. Eludes one tackle and gets maybe about 5 yards.
A late flag coming in there, Jim.
Okay, what do we got here? It's behind the line of scrimmage, is it not?
Yes, it is.
And they're going to call a clip on East Brunswick. At least that's the initial signal. And that'll negate a rather nice gain by Corio. He's had some good room on that right side of the line.
Well, he's really developing and whatnot. Like you said, he's getting some awfully good blocking there.
And this should be a 15-yard penalty against the Bears, and that's going to probably bring them back all the way to the 10-yard line. Let's see what they do with this.
And I'll tell you, Jim, the Bears are a better team this year penalty-wise. They're only averaging 19.3 yards per game in penalties, while their opponents averaging about 31.7. So years gone by, we've talked about the number of penalties hurting the Bears, but this year they haven't done so badly.
The penalty is marked off from the point of the infraction. Ball gets back to the 13-yard line, so we have a second down again now, but it's called 22 yards to go. Could be a passing situation, but East Brunswick does not want to turn over here. So it's right up the middle, and I believe that's Corio. No, that's number 26 for East Brunswick carrying the ball. That was Bettis.
Bettis.
Conservative play, gets maybe a yard or two. Brings up a 3rd and 20 from the 15.
Well, I'm a firm believer, Jim, that when you talk about the E-bone, the wishbone, the fullback really is the key. If you can get that fullback going, then you can get everything else going. If you can make them respect that initial drive coming from the fullback, then that certainly will open up everything else.
3rd and long for East Brunswick. Hops adjusting his backs. Merrigan split wide to the left. Give is to Brenner, I believe. No, it's Corio. Gets maybe 2 yards, so it'll be a 4th down for East Brunswick.
Okay, and a nice tackle there, number 10 for the Bombers, and that's Ryan DePaul.
All right, now the clock. Okay, the clock says 7 seconds, but the officials have called the quarter.
And the officials have had control of this game on the field all day, Jim, so they're not going to pay any attention to the clock now.
Necessarily, but correct me if I'm wrong, Phil. The gentleman running the clock is an official, is he not?
Usually that's true. We don't know. We can't see downstairs. Maybe in this case they don't have it. But you're right. Usually the person running the clock is an official. Many times we've seen the legendary Chester Zajowski over there, Mr. Z, who runs the clock, and he is certainly certified to do so.
All right, well, the first quarter has come to a close with no scoring. East Brunswick, though, has a 4th down and will be faced with punting deep in its own territory. Ball's on the 19-yard line. And Sayreville, unless they miscue, could get the ball in excellent field position. But I have to tell you, I'm respectful of East Brunswick's ability to stop Sayreville so far.
Well, that's the nature of their offense. They can be stopped and stopped and stopped again, and then all of a sudden, off the same thing, they'll bust a big play. That's what you got to be concerned about.
All right, Joseph and 23, I believe that's Nuber, are the deep backs for Sayreville. Bettis back to punt for the Bears. Again, Joseph is a threat every time he touches the ball. Good speed. Bettis gets off a high punt. And Joseph's going to have to let it bounce.
Wow.
And East Brunswick.
Let it go. Let it go.
And he jumps on it anyway.
Okay, a big break for the Bears there.
It is ball. Excellent punt. East Brunswick gets a nice bounce. And Sayreville gets the ball on its own 37-yard line.
And Jim, the temperature's starting to drop.
Only because the sun's starting to go behind the trees. All right, East Brunswick was successful in stopping Sayreville in its first drive. And they will try to do so again. This is Kemple for Sayreville. Number 12, the quarterback. Gives it to Joseph on a slant, and the running back has room. Forges all the way ahead to the 47, where I believe he's good enough for the first down.
And Scott Hops once again on the tackle.
Not quite at the first down marker, so we're gonna call it 2nd and short. You know, I'm surprised Sayreville doesn't ask for a measurement on this one, Phil. This is really close.
It is awfully close. You're right.
Regardless, it's 2nd and 1, or less, actually less than that. Bombers, another fake.
Woo!
There's Nuber, he's outside.
I'll tell you.
Waggles his way for a good 15-yard pickup. Quite honestly, Phil, I didn't know where the ball was. Well,
and again, it's the nature of the offense, but you're right, John Nuber again. Again, only 5'9", 165 pounds, fellas. Goes to show you if you got enough heart, you can play this game. 2
quick plays by Sayreville brings the ball down to East Brunswick's 37-yard line, where they have a first down. 10:50 to go in the second period. We have no score. This is Sayreville against East Brunswick. Give to Joseph, who has some room on the outside. And 3rd time in a row that Sayreville has gone to that side.
And I'll tell you, Adam Petty had to hold on for dear life, otherwise Joseph is gone.
One other first down, and I would not be surprised to see Board call a timeout here, maybe talk things over. Ball rests on the 25-yard line of the Bears. This is the deepest penetration for Sayreville. Kemple, fumble, and the ball is recovered.
I'll tell you.
Nuber was the one that had that, but a ball coughed out of his hands, and it looks like Yesner is the one that recovered that.
Number 6, you're right.
But we have a flag. Let's wait a minute now. Obviously, if it goes against Sayreville, East Brunswick will refuse.
It's East Brunswick's ball.
Clip, and it will be refused, and East Brunswick will take over.
I'll tell you, Jim, really a big break for the Bears there. Kemple seemed to just be getting that wing tee really flowing and getting things going there when this fumble occurred, and an opportune time for the Bears here.
Well, East Brunswick, which has a +1, now a +2 on the season as far as turnover ratio. Catches a break, and they'll try to take advantage of it. Scott Hops, the senior quarterback. Number 8 calling signals for East Brunswick. Keeps it himself, and here he's to the outside. Eludes one tackle, still on his feet. And a nice gain by Hops.
And a nice gain. And Jim, I said it earlier, if you don't have the speed, you better have the read. And Scott Hops is doing an excellent job reading the defense here. Last week against Edison went 35 yards on a keeper. And that was really the big difference in the game there. And you just see him getting better and better each week.
Well, that was a 20-yard gainer for the senior, and East Brunswick, if nothing else, is out of trouble. Ball up on near the 40-yard line. First down again. Ball given to Corio right up the pipe. Still going. Nice gain.
I'll tell you.
Boy, he runs well.
Well, the thing is, he keeps those legs going, and Corio's not very big himself, but keeps the legs turning there, and that's what you got to do. Sean Corio, 5'6", 150-pound junior, yet he's carrying the pack.
Another official timeout, and they're going to measure this one. Ball is just on the 49-yard line of East Brunswick. And this game has had an ebb and flow to it. Both teams moving the ball fairly well.
And first down.
So another first down for East Brunswick. 9:37, the clock says. Period 2 with this scoreless game. Very competitive game thus far. Both teams showing flashes of offense. Sayreville with that one turnover, which cost them dearly just a moment ago. So East Brunswick first down on the 49. Hops gives it to Bettis. Wow.
And once again, the pile is moving back, Jim.
Gets himself about 7 yards.
And the Bears seem to have momentum going here, Jim. And matter of fact, both teams have been rather similar. They've both been bending but not breaking. The first team that breaks is going to be an opportunity for the other team.
Second down, 3 yards to go after that 7-yard gain by Bettis.
I tell you, there's been a lot of running. They're in the E-bone right now.
Give to Leota, and he gets a first down.
I tell you.
Nothing fancy there.
Nothing fancy there. Russ Leota, 5'7", 155-pound junior. And Najar may be wondering how he got away. Najar being from Brooklyn and Leota being from Brooklyn.
Well, Phil, off your comment about the importance of the fullback, you can see how it has Sayreville very cautious now.
You got to respect that middle. If you respect that middle, if you make them respect that middle, then you can do an awful lot of things off it.
So another first down for East Brunswick on the Sayreville 39-yard line. And Sayreville's going to have to stop that running game for East Brunswick. Hops keeps it himself to the outside again. And again, he takes that weight forward.
Just drags a few bodies there. Scott Hops, the quarterback with the linebacker mentality, just drags people.
And boy, you can see the Sayreville defense is out there guessing. They don't know what direction to go to.
Interestingly enough, I did all the talking about the wing T whereby the Bears would be guessing, but the E-bone is just as difficult once it gets rolling there. You don't know who has it, whether the fullback has it, quarterback has it, or whether he's going to pitch it.
Second down, 4 yards to go. Hops again, he's got a nice hole.
Yes.
Great run.
I'll tell you.
I'll tell you what, excellent play calling.
Excellent play calling, and again, excellent reads. When you think about all that Scott Hops has to do, I said it time and time again, he is the quarterback. He's also the defensive captain, and he's got to be able to make the reads there, call the defensive signals, and still lead the team in tackles. Awful lot you ask of a young man.
First down, ball now on the 22-yard line, 7:13 to go in the second period. 0-0 between East Brunswick and Sayreville. Long sustained drive for East Brunswick. A nice
counter
giver to Corio. He's going to break free, and he's in.
Oh, mercy.
Great run there by the junior.
Mercy.
And Sayreville shocked. Boy, right up the middle
Right
that
up
was.
the gut there, that counter, the Corio counter, and Corio takes it for about
22 yards.
22 yards, Jim. Mentioned at the top of the game, Corio had 117 yards against Edison last week, and picking up right where he left off. I tell you, you're right. I think the Bombers are shocked, Jim.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was about as pretty a drive as I've seen all season long. That touchdown coming off a turnover for East Brunswick, 75-yard drive. Number of first downs. Bettis is going to try the point after. He's 4 for 6 on the year. These kicks are going to be important. And let's see. It goes. He hooks it off to the side.
I'll tell you, surprising. Chris Bettis, of course, is the career leader for a season with 29 extra points, and he's about 10 behind Josh Miller for career extra points. We're not used to seeing that, but let's get back, Jim, to that drive. You're right, just an excellent drive. Again, the Bears seem to be working on all cylinders. Again, I want to give Scott Hops a lot of credit because he's doing a masterful job at reading right now and running that offense. And if anybody's off balance, clearly it's the Bombers.
Well, Sayreville has been scored upon this year, Phil. I think we have to mention that.
Well, Sayreville's only giving up 7 points per game, Jim.
Right.
So the Bears are at that, well, not quite at that point right now with 6.
Still, it was just the ease with which East Brunswick moved the ball. Sayreville was so confused, and their heads have to be spinning. I think Najar wants them to come back with a good drive of their own.
Oh, you better believe that. Najar, of course, he and Marcus Borden ran a summer football camp this year, 1st and 10, so they know each other pretty well, but they would like nothing better than to beat each other as well.
All right, Joseph is the deep back. They're flanked by Michael Thomas and John Newber. Bettis with a line drive kick. That's picked up by Thomas. Heads to the middle. Tries to break through. Gets up to the 40-yard line. Nice run there. Sayreville will set up on its own 40-yard line. Try to get that touchdown back.
Okay, let's give number 32 slicing in there for the Bears.
That's Leota. Russ Leota.
Russ Leota made the initial hit.
Now remember now, Sayreville has been doing a nice job of moving the ball on its own. It was that miscue by Newber before fumbling that East Brunswick was able to get the ball back.
And you got to wonder, will Kemple go to his passing game?
Joseph on a slant, but East Brunswick has him this time. Phil, I was going to say, I'm not sure Sayreville needed the pass. They were doing just as well.
They were doing
on the ground.
just as well and whatnot. They could pass off that offense as well. Kemple, I've watched him in practice, and he throws a pretty nice pass. And you're right, no reason to be feel urgency right here. Just get your offense going.
No gain on that play. Brings up a 2nd and 10 for Sayreville on their own 40. Kemple comes to this side, and a good block there. Good block applied by Sayreville's number 64.
On Chris Bettis.
Yeah, that was Nick Picaro. Did a very nice job of sealing that.
Knocked Bettis out, and Hops came over and smothered Kemple down.
Enabling Kemple to get 6 yards on the play, bringing up a 3rd down and 4. Big play right now for East Brunswick. If they can stop it, it'll probably force Sayreville into a punting situation. And Sayreville has been having good success on the right side of East Brunswick's line with Omar Joseph. You might want to watch that.
Okay, we might want to watch Ryan DePaul here. He's their big-time receiver.
Joseph to this side, and I don't think he has enough.
He's short, Jim. Let's see where they placed that ball.
And that was Serapin that, that was Corio that made that tackle. What do you do in this situation if you're George Najar? 4th down and 1 at midfield.
I think it's still early in the game, Jim. Apparently he's gone for it. Kemple's still in there. And
5 minutes left to go in the 2nd period. East Brunswick 6-0.
You can look for Dave Gangandil to get this ball here.
All right. Joseph gets it and gets through.
Ooh. I'll tell you, if Joseph could have kept his balance there, American did make the tackle, but if Joseph keeps his balance, he could have gone.
A nice hole there from Sayreville. And they do pick up the first down, of course. And the ball once again is in East Brunswick territory. 4:35 to go in the second period. East Brunswick ahead 6-0. This is Kemple. Keeps it himself, but he is tackled, almost loses it.
Woo, mercy.
Bettis put a vicious tackle on Kemple. Ball was fumbled up in the air just momentarily. And I think we have a loss here of about 3 yards. Back to the 45, Phil.
I'll tell you, he did slam him, Jim. And you're right, that ball did pop up, and Kemple was able just to pull it back down.
Possible passing situation, 2nd and 13. Nope, up the pipe. Fumble again. Who's got it? And East Brunswick, I believe that's Petty. Petty on top of that ball. Almost the identical situation.
And I'll tell you, the Bears playing opportunistic ball here. And once again, the Bombers shoot themselves in the foot, Jim. They seem to have something going, and then they turn it over again.
I don't know who made that tackle, but Newberg felt it right on his hand. He's still holding it, Phil, if you look at him. And that was enough for the jar the ball loose. East Brunswick with Adam Petty recovering the ball on the 41-yard line. 3:40 left to go, and East Brunswick would like to have some more ball control. Hops gives it to Bettis. And not much running room that time.
And you're right, Jim. I think you can look for the Bears to try to control this ball and not make any mistakes.
Now, neither team has used a timeout. They both have 3 left.
You got Nick Picaro again, number 64, in on that tackle.
Let's give Bettis maybe 2 yards on that play. And let's see what we have here. Official 4 minutes. Wow.
Okay.
So 3:17 the clock says, but
we haven't paid any attention to the clock all day, so.
So I will not either. I'll say about each time. How's that? 2nd down, 8 yards to go for East Brunswick. Hops gives it to Brenner. Excuse me, that's Leota.
And he is slammed, I tell you. Coming up, number 23 from the defense there, and that's Newberg.
Phil, that was about a three-yard gain there. I had thought that he was stopped at the line of scrimmage.
The point is, he was stopped when he was stopped. Newberg came up and really laid one on him.
But you have to admit, the East Brunswick offensive line has been doing a great job.
They've done a super job.
3rd and 5. Probably about 3.5 minutes left to go.
Counter.
This is Corio, and he's not going to have enough, so it looks like Sayreville is going to get possession back.
And once again, Nick Picaro, number 64, doing a fine job. Picaro, 6'3", 200 pounds, and doing a super job in the middle of that line there. We talked about Landino, the big guy. We really haven't heard his name a whole lot. He's the nose guard, Jimmy, but he may be jamming up things, but we haven't heard his name a whole lot on tackles.
Well, Pete Borden, the center, is over top of him. 4th down and 5 brings up a punting situation for East Brunswick. Bettis is back. Joseph, the deep back, as well as Newber. Good snap by East Brunswick. Bettis gets up a high kick. Joseph's going to field it on his 23. Gets to the outside. Ooh. And there's a flag, Phil. They're going to call a clip. They're going to call a clip all the way back on the 25-yard line. I believe that's number 64, Nick Picaro.
Nick Picaro, I tell you this here.
Joseph with a nice run back, but he got a little help there.
I tell you, Alexander, 61, holding on for dear life, grabbed him by the jersey. If it was a rip-away jersey, Joseph would have been gone, but Alexander sort of dragged him down. But you're right, Jim. There is the flag and for the clip, and they're going to step it off.
And if it's back, if the clip is on the 25, that means the ball should be brought back to inside the 10-yard line. And you got to wonder, with 2:17 left, just how fancy Sayreville's going to get. Ball is actually back to the 18. So the clip must have occurred on the 32.
Okay, and we've been wondering and asking about the Sayreville passing game, Jim. Certainly right down here, you want to be very careful if you're going to put the ball up.
Well, teams have been successful passing against East Brunswick, but you have Merrigan and Petty back there, and they have shown that they can do the job. Give.
Number 8.
Number 8, is that?
It appears to be.
Yeah, that's Thomas, and he really doesn't get around that end. No gain, and interestingly, the clock is moving now under 2 minutes.
Well, they're only down 6-0, and again, with the 2 turnovers that they've given already, I'm sure Najar could live with getting out of the half 6-0.
Kemple rolls to his right. He's going to pass, and the ball a little overthrown. It's headed for Thomas. And what would that pass flag be for, Phil?
You got me, Jim. They threw it right by the line there. Could be holding.
Well, if it is, if East Brunswick might do well to refuse this, because they could get the ball back. Ineligible receiver downfield.
Okay.
Is that a loss of down?
Yes.
Well, this could be a very serious situation for the Bombers. Well, it apparently is not, because East Brunswick is refusing it. So it brings up a 3rd down and 10.
It lost down. Right, and it was 2nd down.
But they refused the penalty. You understand? it's 3rd down now because they refused the penalty. That was not a 1st down play.
Okay.
So, ball is on the 17-yard line. East Brunswick, if they can stop Sayreville here, could get the ball back in excellent field position, but they have to stop him right now. Kemple gives the ball to Joseph up the middle.
Ooh, he could go.
What a play. What a play.
Way.
We were waiting with our breaths. Hold on that. That's the Sayreville cannon you hear. And boy, I'll tell you what, you talk about a turn of events, Phil.
Well, I'll tell you, Jim, when you got a back like Omar Joseph, you were wondering why the Bombers aren't passing or attempting to pass. It's because, again, it's the nature, as I mentioned earlier, the nature of the offense. You can stop them, you can stop them, you can stop them, and then boom, they hit you with the big play.
Omar Joseph, we were warned about him, and you saw him get loose, and nobody was going to catch him. Omar Joseph, an 80-yard touchdown run with just a minute and a half left to go in the 2nd period. And with this point after, Sayreville could take the lead. Bad snap, but the ball is up and it is through. And so therefore, Sayreville with a minute and a half left to go.
And as we try to get the noise of the Sayreville cannon out of our ears, Jim, Omar Joseph with an
about 80 yards.
80-yard run there. And the thing about it, Joseph is just a junior. And when you look at this entire Bomber team, I think they may have 3 seniors in the starting lineup, Jim. Everybody else is underclassmen. So if you talk to Najar, he'll tell you that this year isn't the year, next year is the year. They just got to find somebody to replace Kemple.
Okay. So Sayreville now takes the lead, 7-6, their first lead in this game, and it's a shocking. As Sayreville was shocked by East Brunswick, the Bears now are shocked themselves.
Well, the thing about it, it's a good game, Jim. It's a very good game, and the Bears Bears will show you what they're made of. They got to bounce back. If they can get something here, they will. If not, they'll come out the second half and continue to play the game they've been playing.
Bell, who will be kicking off, was the one that put that through the uprights to give Sayreville the lead. And East Brunswick will have one opportunity. A low kick, and the ball bounces off number 61.
Okay, and the Bears recover.
That was Anthony Alexander who pounced on that ball. And so now, actually, East Brunswick, with a minute 24, is on its own 48.
I'll tell you,
they could do something.
They could do something. When you got a leg like Bettis, if you can't get it in the end zone, you certainly have a strong enough leg to pick up 3 points, a field goal that could make a big difference.
But honestly, I can't figure that out. I really can't. East Brunswick has 3 timeouts left. And Merrigan and Petty are split wide to the right here. They haven't used them. I think Hops has passed 1 time maybe. And he's going to pass now. And
oh, mercy.
Ball right in the waiting arms of Neuber.
I'll tell you exactly what you didn't want to happen, Jim.
Yeah, Neuber was just waiting for that pass.
I'll tell you, a lot of scenarios, but exactly what you didn't want to happen at this juncture.
And I tell you what, if you're the East Brunswick scouts up here, you're going to take a look at that one, and you're going to notice that Neuber was really favoring that situation, and perhaps a pump fake, Petty down the sideline, and you could have something there.
Okay.
Well, so Sayreville now with 1:17 left. Remember, the clock is unofficial. Has the ball on the East Brunswick 48, and they're going to try to get something else.
Percaro spread white. Vinny Percaro.
Kemple going to pass. Whips it out to Joseph.
By himself.
And just tackled.
Super tackle.
And let's see, the clock stops. Ball on the 28-yard line.
I think that's Merrigan. Let's see now.
Yes, it was. It was Merrigan that made that tackle. Yeah.
Super tackle, because he's out there one-on-one with Omar Joseph. He doesn't make that tackle, and Joseph goes.
Plenty of time. There goes the clock. Under a minute left to go in the second period. Sayreville 7-6. Campbell whips it out again, and it's intercepted.
Oh, no. Almost.
Well, Yesner was there.
Yasner doing a nice job stepping right in front there, just not able to hold on to the ball there.
Ball intended for number 10, Ryan DePaul, a 6-foot senior. And Kemple can throw the ball, Phil, as we've seen.
Kemple made the adjustment at the line of scrimmage there, and that was an audible.
So it brings up a 2nd and 10 for Sayreville. The ball on the 28 of East Brunswick, 7-6. The Bombers on top. All the scoring in the second period. Kemple again. And open.
I'll tell you, to Dave Gangadil.
Gangadil,
and
right.
It's the same play to the opposite side that went to the right side for Joseph there.
And still Sayreville does not call any timeouts. Again, they do have 3. Now they're going to call one. 38 seconds left on the clock. Ball is on the 11-yard line.
And you see Najar, he calls his team to the side like many coaches do now, Jim, for timeouts. And you take a look at Najar over there. This is just his 2nd season at Sayreville, and he comes from New York with an outstanding record where he was 94-21-3 in New York, and his last stint was at Lincoln High in Brooklyn.
As a head coach?
As a head coach, yes.
Wow.
94-21-3.
Well, Sayreville certainly got themselves a good coach then.
And we never thought people would forget Sal Mastretta, but Najar is doing the job.
Well, Phil, just I used to cover Sayreville for the Suburban. I since have moved over to East Brunswick and Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
But during those years, I have to tell you, as much as the coaches deserve a lot of credit for elevating that program, I think it's the quality of the athlete that Sayreville's been able to acquire.
Well, Jim, there's been so much discussion lately about coaching and athletes, how much a coach gives to a team and whatnot. And I think the best of them will tell you, you got to have the athletes, and it is the quality of the athletes. It's probably a good story sometime to talk about.
Okay, so at the ball at the 11-yard line, Kemple gives the ball right up the middle to Neuber, gets nothing, and I think that'll have to waste another timeout, and that'll leave Sayreville with 1 remaining. They use 6 seconds on the clock.
And you really can't say that's a conservative play there, Jim, because, as I said, they do the same things each time they go up to the line. They just do different things off it.
This time the team will stay in the huddle. And is that Najar right there?
That's Najar.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, if you're East Brunswick now, how do you guard against this there's a number of options for the Bombers. The passes worked. We've seen the running exploits of Omar Joseph.
Well, the Bears got to do pretty much what they've been conditioned to do the most part and whatnot. Do their assignments, whatnot. If it's going to be a running play, you follow the guards. Usually where the guards go, that's where the ball is going. Otherwise, do your assignments. They can do any number of things off of what they've been doing, Jim.
All right, I think they are going to.
And you look at Nick Spadafino's certainly out there preparing the Bear defense for just about anything. Okay, they're spread wide to the right.
Kemple, but he's looking for number 10.
Oh,
and the
good
ball
hand.
is almost intercepted by Hops.
Scott Hops, good job.
All right, now what do you got here? A possibility of a field goal attempt? Brings up a 4th down.
Well, if you look at the kickoffs, Jim, that have been, they really don't have a whole lot of confidence in the kicker the way they've been kicking. So you got to believe they're going to go for something right here.
Well, this is going to put a lot of pressure on the East Brunswick secondary. They're going to have to not give too much of a cushion. Remember now, it's 4th and 10.
Joseph up the middle, and he stopped.
They expected it. Good play by the East Brunswick defense. And
the last time out for the Bombers, and I tell you, the Bears have done a good job in the red zone there.
wait a minute. I thought that was a 4th down
well,
there.
Apparently not. They have one more down. They're going to come in and kick right here, Jim.
No, I apologize. I thought it was 4th down.
We've been off a little bit with the markings. It's 4th now, Jim, and they are going to kick. But
that is Bell. Ball is going to be set on the 17-yard line, so it would be a 27-yard attempt. Not would, will be. There's the snap, a little high, but it's put down and somewhat hooked to the right.
And that's your answer right there, Jim. But again, you got to give the Bears a lot of credit, Jim. They're down in the red zone there. They did bend a little bit. They didn't break and did a nice job. Again, Scott Hops on a super key 3rd down play there.
Well, there's been a couple of them. Yesner was almost in
big
there
play as well
for an interception. So East Brunswick somewhat dodges a bullet here, and they're going to let the clock go right out. Well, the clock is going off right now. That's the unofficial clock. And we see it stop with 5 seconds left. So knowing the mindset of Marcus Borden, I don't think he's going to do anything fancy here.
Okay, 5 seconds left. Of course, change of possession. Clock stops automatically now.
7-6 is the score. Sayreville with that late touchdown about a minute ago took the lead. And you watch now, Hops will do nothing fancy here. Takes it himself. Gets himself a 1st down nonetheless. And that's the end of the 1st half with the score, Sayreville 7, East Brunswick 6. Phil, have you seen a game with so much change in momentum here?
I'll tell you, it's a really it's a good game to watch, that's for sure, and whatnot. These teams are very much balanced, and we've seen a lot of exciting action. We've seen some super individual play on the part of both teams, and it should make for a very exciting second half.
Right, and that's the point. East Brunswick has shown the ability to move the ball on Sayreville, and Sayreville, of course, is an explosive team. So the score 7-6, Sayreville over East Brunswick at halftime of this homecoming game, and we're going to take a break and be back to you in a moment with some of the festivities.
Our Student Week included many activities, such as the student-faculty volleyball game, a mixed-up shoe and sock day, as well as Crazy Hair Day. It was crazy. It also involved the Homecoming Hall Decoration Spectacular, which has indeed become a tradition here at the high school. It is this zeal that makes me proud to say that I go to East Brunswick High School. As president this year, and a member of the executive board during the previous years, I have had the opportunity to oversee numerous spirit activities. However, I can honestly say that this past week has been the absolute best. As I look back, I've come to realize how truly unique our high school is. Excellence has been achieved in every area: academics, athletics, in the arts, clubs and organizations, faculty, and the diversity of the student population. Every aspect is indeed a learning experience in itself. Personally speaking, these past years that I have spent at the high school will be years that I will always cherish and remember. I love waking up in the morning to come here because I know that every day brings a new experience. D.H. Lawrence once said, "Life is ours to be spent, not to be saved." I have learned that active participation is the necessary ingredient in reaping the benefits of what is offered. You have to grab it. And so, as graduation approaches, I feel more and more confident that East Brunswick has prepared me well for what comes next. Though I will dearly miss East Brunswick High School, I am also excited about using the tools and the knowledge that I have acquired to go further in my pursuits. Thank you. I would now like to introduce to you the Student Council Executive Board of the 1996-97 school year. We are extremely fortunate this year to have such a dedicated and reliable group of students. I want to thank you guys very much. We got Mike Katz, Josh Javin, Jared Eber, Naomi Finkelstein, Howie Wachtel, Marissa Goldberg, Amanda Summers, Brian Bauer, Joel Cruz, Matt Jacobs, and Amy Lustbader. I want to thank you guys. I'd also like to give a special thanks to Mrs. Rosenberg, our student council advisor, who has also put a tremendous amount of time and labor into this club. She's really a great lady, not only as an advisor, but as a friend. I would also like to thank Mr. Tantillo and Mr. Zukas for allowing the Student Council to activate numerous activities this year. Thank you. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the 1996 Homecoming Court. These four individuals were elected by their peers out of the entire student body to represent their respective class. This is indeed a great honor. Your homecoming queen for the 1996 year, Chrissy Bongiovanni. Chris Bettis was our homecoming king this year, but he's on the football team. So this is Chris's mother, Mrs. Bettis. Congratulations. This year's junior attendant, Shara Rosen. And finally, this year's sophomore attendant, Morgan Balag. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the game.
All right, we are back after a rousing homecoming halftime festivities. We hope you enjoyed them. This is the East Brunswick Sayreville football game. The Bombers holding a 7-6 lead If you recall, in the first half, Sayreville deferred to East Brunswick, so Sayreville will receive. Our congratulations to Christy Bongiovanni, who was crowned homecoming queen. Christy, one of the quality strikers for East Brunswick soccer team.
Super
Phil.
soccer team, I tell you.
Right, and Chris Bettis named king. And a rather nice presentation by senior class president Michelle Newman as well. Michelle, one of the doubles players for the East Brunswick GMC champion girls tennis team. So this is a athletic afternoon, and East Brunswick will try to become more athletic and overcome this 7-6 lead. Scoring very quickly, East Brunswick got on the board in the second period when a long drive following a Sayreville turnover resulted in Dan Corio running 22 yards for a touchdown at 6:59 left to go in the second period. The point after, however, by Chris Bettis was missed, so East Brunswick clung to a 6-0 lead. Then with, excuse me, just a minute left to go, minute 28 to be exact, left to go in the second quarter, Omar Joseph skirted the right side from 80 yards out on a 3rd down and 10. And Sayreville converted the extra point and took a 7-6 lead. They almost scored again, Phil, with about 30 seconds left when John Bell, who made the extra point, missed on a 27-yard field goal attempt. And that's where we're at, 7-6 with Sayreville getting the ball, East Brunswick kicking off.
Okay.
Bettis will be kicking off.
You got Thomas, Joseph,
right,
and Newber, I believe,
right,
to receive.
And Bettis kicks to the right side. It's not a spiral. Takes a bounce. Joseph picks it up. Goes right up the middle.
Oh, mercy.
And we saw that. Thankfully, Merrigan was there.
I'll tell you.
As was Bettis.
I'll tell you had Merrigan there. You had Petty just 5 yards down the field. But if Merrigan doesn't get Joseph, once again, he's gone.
Okay, so nonetheless, Sayreville gets the ball. An excellent field position to begin the second half. Ball on the East Brunswick 46, first down. Dustin Kemple, the quarterback. Newber, the lone back, but here comes Omar Joseph. Gets the ball, slants across, and is lassoed by Bettis. Gain of about 4 yards on the play.
And I'll tell you, Bettis is playing a super game. Of course, as you mentioned, Chris Bettis named homecoming king today. And he's having a super day on the field here.
Another fine performance by the East Brunswick band, which continues to get bigger in numbers and in volume.
And better.
Second down. 6.
Fumble.
It's a fumble, and it looks like Hops on it. 3rd turnover. And East Brunswick will dodge yet another bullet.
And we've been around this game long enough, Jim, to know that you can't have turnovers like that many turnovers a game, and expect to walk away with it. You got to be fortunate if you do. Again, opportunistic ball by the Bears.
Another thing that we've noticed covering East Brunswick is that East Brunswick is very good at adapting to second half tactics. So let's find out with Marcus Borden, the East Brunswick coach. One of his strengths, Phil. So that is Hops, who just made that fumble recovery. Gives it up the middle.
And we got a holding penalty, I'm sure.
That's generally where these things result when you see a flag coming from a back judge.
I tell you, Hops had a little trouble himself handling that ball, Jim. Almost slipped out of his hands.
Referee does signal a holding penalty, so that's going to back up East Brunswick from that point back to the 35. So that'll make it a first down and 17 to go for East Brunswick to begin the second half for them. 11 minutes left in period number 3. Sayreville ahead 7-6. This game, of course, is very much in doubt.
And you got Merrigan and Petty just coming into the game here. Merrigan, who leads this team in scoring with 24 points and 3 touchdown receptions. We haven't heard from him today offensively.
Well, East Brunswick has had good success running the ball on the ground, but you got to wonder at some point they may have to test that Sayreville secondary. Merrigan on the receiving end of that, but I'll tell you what, he was converged on.
I spoke too soon now.
That play fooled no one.
I tell you, you got to believe Merrigan, from what we've seen, is a downfield receiver, though, Jim. Apparently there was a little pass there, and he was to use his speed, and he has good speed, but he runs pretty good patterns, and you look for him more so downfield.
Loss of 3 on that play brings up a second down. 20 yards to go, 21 yards perhaps. And Merrigan and Petty will be split to the left here on the near side. Look for a little bit of action, or perhaps a rollout by Hops to the lower part of your screen. No, the ball is given up the middle.
And Bettis picks up a
couple,
Jim.
Yeah.
Making,
so it's third down and about 18. Well, one of the few times that East Brunswick went to the air, they were intercepted, so you know that they're going to have to be choosy in terms of when they put the ball in the air. Hops on a slant.
Ooh, he's
what?
Oh, mercy.
That play fooled no one again.
Let me get that.
Leota was the one that carried the ball. But
I'll
was
tell
it
you,
55?
55 blowing in there.
Alrighty, that's Kurt Tushon, a 5'9", 175-pound junior.
Junior again, nailed Corio.
So East Brunswick faced with another loss and a fourth down. Bettis was going to be punting, so they didn't take advantage of that turnover. Bettis has gotten off a number of excellent punts thus far, and lofts a high one that's going to be caught by Newbury. He goes to the left side, cuts inside.
Runs into his own man.
Another flag, and it looks like there's going to be a clipping call on this one. And so Sayreville will find itself backed up. Clipping is the call. Really a beautiful afternoon for football, Phil.
Just a great afternoon, and Adam Goldstein coming in to make that tackle despite the penalty.
Out in the distance, you can see the trees, just a hint of color. So the ball is marched back to the 32-yard line, 33-yard line, where Sayreville resumed possession. Clock showing, I believe, 8:30 left to go in this third period. Bombers holding a 7-6 lead. And Kemple will call signals for the Bombers. Give to Newber up the middle, but that ball is stuffed.
I'll tell you, he swarmed under.
He gets nothing. Maybe he lost a couple of yards on that play. East Brunswick, I have to say, Phil, has certainly been winning the war on the line.
Well, they've been doing a good job. As I said, you got to believe they're well prepared by Marcus to handle this wing T. We talked about all the deception and stuff, but the Bears clearly have done a good job. They've done a lot of jamming, taking certain angles and following those guards wherever they go.
A little bit of a loss on that play, so it's about a 2nd and 10.5. Kemple gets back to Serapin in his face.
Oh, yes.
And a sack.
Serapin and Merrigan.
No, that was Pete Borden on that.
Pete Borden,
number 60.
I'm sorry. Pete Borden and Joel Serapin.
One of the few times that East Brunswick has been able to rush Kemple, but nonetheless, they've been putting a lot of pressure on the line, and that's been enough. So a loss of about 6 yards, bringing up a 3rd and 16.
And Pete Borden, his second-year tackle, he's doing a job there.
Kemple wants to throw again. A screen pass. There's a lot of room on that side.
Blockers.
And a flag.
Oh, of course, they took out Scott Hops with it.
Yesner is actually the one that
Yesner actually hit from behind. You're right.
So this one's going to come back. Yesner had a bead on Joseph. Was it Joseph that had the ball? That carried the ball on that, Phil? Omar Joseph?
I believe so.
Okay.
And you hear the Sayreville fans booing, but clearly Yesner was taken out. Yesner was in position to make the tackle and clearly hit from behind.
So you can negate that play. And with the ball being marked from the spot of the foul, Sayreville's going to probably have a third and about 20. Bombers have been plagued all afternoon by assorted penalties
and turnovers.
And it, more than anything else, has kept this game where it is right now, 7-6 in favor of the Bombers. But I'll tell you what, East Brunswick certainly within striking distance.
I'll tell you, well, the thing is, once you have as many turnovers as the Bombers have, after a while you get a little gun shy. You terribly don't want to make a mistake, and many times when you're trying not to do that, that's exactly what you do.
Kemple, straight drop back. Bettis chases him, but Borden corrals him under. And that was more of a matter of Kemple just running out of bounds.
Survival,
to avoid.
You're right.
Yeah, couldn't find a receiver, so credit the East Brunswick secondary for doing the job there.
And once again, Pete Borden.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that Sayreville is punting this afternoon. 4th down and a long way to go for a first down. Ball is resting on the 20-yard line. And let's see if East Brunswick can make something out of this field position. Merrigan and Petty standing on about their own 45. Kemple's going to punt. Gets off a angling pump.
Oh, good one.
Merrigan fields it on his 45. Over midfield. Has some room on the near side here. Avoids one tackle and is down on about the 42-yard line. A good run back by Brian Merrigan gives East Brunswick.
I'll tell you, Newberg coming up to make the tackle there, and the more I look at Brian Merrigan, to think that this is really his initial year playing football on the high school level. As I mentioned last year, dislocated his shoulder, and to come out and perform the way he has this year, rather admirable.
So East Brunswick, having the ball on the Sayreville 41-yard line, has good field position here to try to bring the ball close and perhaps get ahead. Hops. Ball given to Corio through the middle and gets himself about 2-3 yards on the play.
And you see the Bombers trying to strip the ball from Corio. They've had 3 turnovers against them, and the Jars apparently told them, listen, let's try to create some of our own.
Philly, if you remember, the most success East Brunswick had in that drive was nothing fancy, just surging ahead, and you wonder if maybe they're going to try to do that again this time.
Well, they want to control it and not make mistakes themselves.
5:45 left to go in the third period. Sayreville ahead 7-6. East Brunswick with a 2nd down and 7 on the Sayreville 38-yard line. Hops takes it himself up the middle. This time he's wrestled to the ground.
And that's number 10, Ryan DePaul.
So Sayreville somewhat expecting the Bears to exploit that middle of the line. We're ready for it this time.
And DePaul's played a fine game for the Bears. Again, he's a defensive end, 6 feet, 205-pound senior.
3rd down for the Bears on the 37-yard line. 3rd, and let's call it 6 yards to go. Hops trips over his man, but Corio has a little bit of room and plunges ahead. We wonder where he is. Official's going to call him out, however, on the about 2 yards shy of the first down, Phil.
Okay.
So it'll bring up a 4th down, and the ball is going to be placed on the 32-yard line. So it'll be 4th down and 2. The ball has to get just about to the 31-yard line for a first down.
And if you're the Bears, you certainly want to maintain possession of this ball here.
Kind of a big play at this point. Corio up the middle, he's got it. Well, let's see where they mark it. I think his initial surge was enough to give East Brunswick the first down.
I'm sure about that.
And Phil, you got to like that play. East Brunswick's Pete Borden, the center, just moved out Landoni.
And again, Pete Borden, again, we don't give Pete a lot of credit, but Pete has been doing the job for years. Pete Borden's 6'3", 245-pound senior, and right now he's handling Joe Landino, who is 6'4", 290 pounds. So, again, Borden's doing the job.
First down for East Brunswick. Ball given to Bettis, I believe that is.
And Picaro on the job, on the tackle, Vinny Picaro.
Bettis gets about 3 yards. Manetta is the one that's actually centering the ball, but it's that right guard, Pete Borden, that seems to be doing the job.
The job, right. Well, you got to give them both credit there for handling Lardino.
2nd and 7. Ball given to the second back, who plunges ahead, gets some nice yardage. And what we're seeing here is nothing fancy by East Brunswick. It is the way they were able to move the ball in the second period when they scored.
And that's Leota on the carry, doing a nice job.
Gets himself about 4 on the play, and it brings up a 3rd down and 4, maybe 3. And again, you can't give enough credit to that East Brunswick offensive line, which is certainly handling Sayreville. Center on that for East Brunswick, by the way, is number 67, Adam Goldstein. Hops gives it.
Ooh.
And a good play. Give East Brunswick another first down. Corio. A lot of room to run.
A lot of room to run, and I tell you, the more I see Sean Corio, the more I like about him. John Bell coming up to make the tackle there, but Corio met him head on.
Well, he certainly had a lot of room to run there. Greenhut's doing a nice job on the left side of the line.
And the Bears seem to have found their rhythm once again, Jim.
Also Anthony Alexander, right tackle. Hops, first down for East Brunswick. Keeps it himself, gets himself fairly good yardage there.
Okay, and once again, Vinny Picaro coming up to make the tackle. Hops dragging Picaro for about a yard or so.
And gets a total of 5, let's call it. Ball marked on the 14-yard line, 2nd down and 5. Clock showing 2:30 left to go in the 3rd period. And as long as East Brunswick stays out of trouble with mistakes and penalties, they look in pretty good shape here.
Well, they got the bone going good right now, Jim.
Hops on a 2nd and 5. Gives to Corey up the middle. It's got room again. All the way down to the 2-yard line.
Corio counter.
That was the same play that East Brunswick scored on. And what an impressive drive by this East Brunswick team.
And you got to like it, Jim. I said they seem to have the rhythm. Again, Scott Hops doing a good job running the E-bone. And now what you want to do is punch it in here.
And is there any reason to think that East Brunswick won't after really just exploiting that Sayreville line? Ball on the 1-yard line. They got 4 shots at it. Brenner all the way down to the goal line.
I thought he was in.
I don't know if that was Brenner that was faked on that or whether Hops had it.
Appeared to be Jason Brenner.
Well, the ball is just short of the goal line. And Phil, I have to think that Hops, with his ability, calling a quarterback sneak,
with his ability,
they could do it right here.
And linebacker mentality, he just pushes it himself.
I think he will. Let's watch. No. And East Brunswick scores.
And that's Bettis.
Sure was.
Why bang up yourself when you got a body like Bettis that can go in there?
Bettis on a 1-yard plunge. And a great job of blocking by that East Brunswick offensive line.
I'll tell you, they've done a fine job. They really have. Handling these Bombers. Again, the E-bone is back in form, and just a masterful job.
So East Brunswick scoring with 1:17 left on the clock is probably going to go for 2 here.
Should be interesting.
They asked to set the ball up on the left hash. Petty and Merrigan are flanked wide to the right. East Brunswick up now 12-7, and they would like this 2 points here to bring it back to a touchdown margin. A good pass play and a little overthrown. Boy, you know, Hops had a lot of room there, Phil.
He had a lot of room. He could have kept on going himself, but thought he saw Petty over. The ball just got away from him.
So with 1:17 left to go in the third period, East Brunswick is out on top again. 12-7, a drive coming after a punt that was fielded by Brian Merrigan, gave East Brunswick possession on their own 45, and the Bears took it from there and marched all the way down the field to once again take the lead. This is a great game.
It's a super game, I tell you. We talk about balance for both teams. There's a lot of good hitting on both sides, a lot of good ball movement.
Phil, I think you made a good point when you talked about sooner or later turnovers and penalties are going to catch up to you. They certainly are in this case.
Turnovers a lot more so than the penalties. Penalties can add up, but those turnovers can just kill you. They're drive stallers and things of that sort. And the thing about it is the Bears have taken advantage of 2 of the 3 turnovers.
So Chris Bettis, who just scored that touchdown to put East Brunswick ahead, will kick the ball off. Pushes it deep. Thomas is going to field it on about his 8-yard line. Goes right up the middle and is finally wrestled to the ground by a host of East Brunswick tacklers. Hops was the one who actually finished him off.
I'll tell you.
And so the ball is on the 26-yard line. Sayreville will once again take over possession.
And I'll tell you, if you're the Bears, you want to take the hearts out of the Bombers. You stop them on this series right here.
Well, they have done an adequate job, I would say that. This is Kemple. Ball given to Joseph, who cuts inside. It is met by Hops. Boy, we've been calling his number all afternoon.
Well, again, he's an all-conference linebacker last year, and he's picking up right from there. I just think if Scott Hops only had to play linebacker.
And they will give Joseph about a yard, making it a 2nd and 9. Clock ticking with 40 seconds left to go in the third period.
Okay, I'd keep an eye on Vinny Picaro. Spread wide right here.
Kemple back to throw. And
one hand catch,
almost gathered in by Joseph, but he couldn't quite hold on to it.
A little too high by Kemple.
Still in all, Yesner was there. So the incomplete pass now will make it a 3rd down. And let's call it about 9 yards to go for Sayreville.
Okay, and one might think this is a perfect situation for Kemple to come out with the pass, but we should know better. Omar Joseph going 80 yards for the lone touchdown.
Well, to keep your eye on Joseph, he's flanked in the back. No, he goes straight ahead. He looks like he's going to be the receiver. They're looking for him down long, and he drops it again.
He dropped it.
They had the play well conceived.
I'll tell you, Adam Petty out there, but Omar Joseph simply drops it. He did it down, out, and up, and simply had a step on Petty, simply just dropped the ball.
So,
missed opportunities.
And the Bombers, I think, are a little nervous, Phil.
And Jim, I had said it would be key for the Bears to stop the Bombers on this series. They have. And I think what you're going to see from them is more of that good ball control offense.
Kemple will punt. Gets the ball. Nice kick. American calling for a fair catch. And he fields it on his own 43-yard line. And that's where East Brunswick will take over with just 15 seconds left to go in the third quarter. They are ahead 12-7 in somewhat of a surprise. Sayreville undefeated coming into this game. East Brunswick 2-1 after a resounding loss to Bridgewater to open the season. But boy, I'll tell you what, they have been coming on steadily and surely, and they have really played better in this game.
Well, we talked about at the top of the game how their offense has certainly come around, but defensively, as you've seen today, they've done a fine job.
You have to believe that East Brunswick will be conservative. Hops keeps it himself. And boy, look at him just drag that pile further.
And they're still up.
A lot of punching going on, as a matter of fact.
They're trying to punch the ball out, not trying to punch the player, Jim.
Look at Borden. Coach for East Brunswick is not happy with what transpired there.
He thought he's still out on the field.
And he's marching right to the officials.
Did he call a timeout?
Well, that's the quarter.
Okay. He's right there. Marcus is saying, hey, they're punching my player, and the official says they're going for the ball.
Not quite sure he's allowed to do that, is he, Phil?
What's that?
Go out on the field
Well,
like
it was
that?
into the quarter.
Okay. Well, score is 12-7, and we have but 12 minutes to play.
And I tell you, you look at Marcus, and Marcus, we know, can be fiery, but he certainly has done a fine job today in preparing these Bears. Marcus is a veteran coach. Marcus comes into this season with a record of 81. Well, not so far the season, up to the season, has a record of 81, 44, and 1.
Okay.
Coming off a 5-4 year last year, and this is his 14th year here, Jim.
Starting to become one of the patriarchs
One
of
of
this
the veterans,
GMC,
really.
along with Bob DeMarco of Old Bridge.
He's the inventor and game director of the Snapple Bowl, and you tell me he's the president of
the New Jersey Football Coaches Association, of which he had a lot to do with getting overtime instituted into regular season play. So an innovator, a hard worker. We talk to him throughout the season when we can, certainly do for the newspaper. No, he's a busy guy. He really is.
Well respected.
Yeah, and tell you what you're seeing this afternoon is just excellent game preparation by this coaching staff under Marcus's direction. So here we go with 12 minutes left to go. East Brunswick 2nd down and 5. Ball given, I think to Corio. And he is the last one up, and maybe a gain of about a yard.
And he's been a workhorse himself today.
So it's a 3rd down, and it's called 3 yards to go for East Brunswick. This is a key possession as far as I'm concerned, Phil. If East Brunswick can maintain position, they take time off the clock, and they get the ball into Sayreville's field territory.
Okay, you're exactly right.
3rd down, this is Hops. Corio doesn't have any room this time.
And Joseph coming from his cornerback's spot to make the tackle. Coming up awfully quick.
And that maybe is a gain of a yard, so East Brunswick will be faced with a 4th down and 2, and Bettis, I believe, will be punting here. And that's what East Brunswick is going to do. They can't afford to take any chances.
And once again, on your punt here, you certainly want to keep it in the field of play there and hope to nail them back there.
Well, Bettis has been excellent on his punts all afternoon. There's no reason to think why he can't.
Or out of
East
bounds.
Brunswick
Or out of bounds deep.
Sure, East Brunswick can get Sayreville pinned deep in their own territory. Flag on the play. Let's see what happens here. Neuber fields it. And Sayreville was a little bit more disciplined that time.
Yeah.
But we have a flag on this, so let's see what happens. I'm not sure Sayreville would take this penalty. That was not a long punt. Okay, illegal motion by East Brunswick. I imagine the Bombers are going to refuse this.
Alexander again on the tackle, number 61.
And refuse they do. So Sayreville will take over on their own 32-yard line. And it's starting to become a little ticklish now,
If you're
Phil.
George Najar, you know you just stopped on that last series. You certainly don't want to be another series and out. You want to be able to control that ball and move down the field. But
Now, Sayreville did show some ability to at least throw the ball that last series. Joseph dropped a couple, but you got to wonder. Campbell gives it to Joseph, breaks through, and Yesner wrestles him down. That's a good gain of about 6-7 yards on that play.
And I think Nadar just as well, rather than go to the passing game, is to continue to knock at the door and hope that his backs can break a big one.
2nd and about 4. So this is where that East Brunswick line is going to have to do the job again. Kemple to Joseph, same play, breaks through. I believe that's going to be enough for a first down.
Okay, Corio coming over to make the tackle.
So Sayreville with a first down on the 40, on their own 45.
And what you want if you're the Bears, you want something to disrupt their flow right now. They seem to be getting in the flow. It's only been 2 plays, but you want something to really disrupt them right now.
Third time in a row they try Joseph on that left side. This time East Brunswick gets him.
Okay, third time not a charm, Jim. And number 32 coming in.
That's Leota.
Russ Leota coming in to make the tackle.
A loss of about 2. Bring it up to second down and 12. Pitch out to Joseph. Oh, gosh, I thought he was clipped.
Serapin.
I thought Leota was clipped, but nonetheless, Sayreville does not get anything out of that.
I'll tell you, Serapin doing a nice job getting over there, as well as Adam Petty.
Well, Russ Leota was the first one that caused Joseph to have to cut that play in.
Okay.
So it is perhaps a gain of a yard, brings the ball back to the line of scrimmage, making it a 3rd and 10.
I told you, Jim, that they have to do something to jam up the system there, and they're sort of blitzing right now and getting the Bombers before they can get started.
Obviously a key play right here for East Brunswick. If they can stop Sayreville, Kemple back to throw, and a ball is overthrown again.
Whoa, very close. Be careful. Be careful. Careful, guys. You don't want roughing the passer here.
Woo!
You don't want roughing the passer. And the official was right there. He let him go. But the Sayreville fans don't like it. But you had Kemple and Merrigan, I believe, sort of going at it.
Well, I think the problem...
Merrigan was trying to get up, and Kemple's holding him down.
It wasn't Merrigan. It was number 66. It was Larry Benson.
Benson?
Okay.
Oh,
wrestler, by the way.
Okay, and there's Marcus Borden out on the field to make sure he gets up there. Let's see if there's going to be any penalties as a result of it.
There will not. No, they're just discussing. I think the fact was that Kemple was being just as active as Benson, so it was more or less a standoff.
And they do mark it off against the Bears.
Oh!
And it's an untimely one.
No, they don't.
Okay,
No.
fault.
They couldn't been a penalty.
We're just punting.
All righty. So then Sayreville will...
Now settle down here.
Yep. All right, so East Brunswick, after all this is flushed out, does its job, and Kemple is going to have to punt. Gets off a high one. East Brunswick might want to just let this ball go out of bounds. And they do. And there's some more hitting going on down there.
And once again, Kemple's involved.
Well, they say football is a contact sport.
Well, you know, he's a feisty one, and you got to be tough. He's just letting you know I won't take any stuff. But the Bears got to be careful that they don't find themselves in this situation where they get a 15-yarder that's going to hurt them.
Well, the clock shows 7:56 left to go in the game. East Brunswick clinging to a 12-7 lead. And this game has become somewhat spirited in the last couple of minutes. Give is to Leota. Juggles the ball for just a moment.
Okay, you got Dave Gangendale and Omar Joseph in on the tackle.
And I'll tell you what, this has become a rather chippy game after each play.
People are talking.
Somebody shoving. You see an arm going one way or another, and the players are just going to have to control their emotions. So we give Leota a yard on that play, making it 2nd and 9. Clock continues to tick. We're down to 7 minutes and 10 seconds left to go. Ball is given to Leota once again. This time, well, let's see. Maybe he gets one more.
I'll tell you, Hops took a shot to his right knee.
From Lardino.
After he handed off the play, he took a shot to his right knee, and I'm surprised that he got back up.
Well, we know how tough he is. Leota, though, is limping.
He's limping as well.
And Phil, is this that place to try that pass to Petty? Huh? What do you think?
I think they're a little shell shocked from the pass that they threw before.
I'll tell you what.
I think they're going to go with the package.
Well, Petty goes to the left, actually. Ball, though, is given on a straight handoff.
They decide to go with the package, Jim, and hope something breaks there. And they don't want to be foolish, and they're going to play field position here. They're going to punt the ball, hope to put the Bombers down deep, and hope that the defense can control them.
So the 2 yards gained by Leota will make it 4th down and about 5. And Bettis will be called on to punt once again.
And Bettis will try to keep this ball away from Omar Joseph.
Now remember, Sayreville has been victimized by a lot of clipping penalties on these runbacks, so we'll have to watch that. Bettis. Oh, almost blocked. Ball is angling to the side. And the East Brunswick fans, yes.
Roughing the passer, kicker.
That's what the call's going to be.
I'll tell you, if you're George Nadar, you got to be beside yourself. Every time you seem to think you're going to get a break, you shoot yourself in the foot with a penalty or a turnover here. And
well,
this is really a costly one.
Well, I think why East Brunswick is really fortunate is that ball was not touched by a Sayreville player.
Okay.
If it had been,
that's right,
it would not have been
all
roughing.
bets are off. You're right. And Nadar is out on the field. He's not happy. He is not happy at all.
So East Brunswick will probably, I guess it's an automatic 1st down.
You're going the wrong way, ref. And I tell you, you're right.
That is a big call.
If we assume the clock is right, Jim.
5:37.
5:37 at this juncture here, and you're about to get the ball, and you commit a penalty like that, it really has to hurt you. If you're the Bears, again, you don't want to make mistakes, and you do want to control the ball. You're going to see them use their package here, Jim.
1st down for East Brunswick. Hops has it, and he's able to avoid it. And there's some more hitting going on, Phil. After each play, this is happening.
Well, it's not going to stop till the official throws a flag, and it's going to hurt one of the teams. It's got to stop.
That was a 6-yard gain for Hops as he gets the ball into Sayreville territory. Ball resting on the 45-yard line, and now the clock has to be considered a factor. We're under 5 minutes to go in this game.
You'll only see dives. You'll either see the quick dive or Hops keep. You won't see a pitch or anything, Jim.
2nd and 4. Hops gives the ball off, and a nice surge.
And close to 1st down, I tell you.
Yes, it is. We might have a measurement here. It's real close. No. I'll tell you what, if I was East Brunswick, I'd ask for a measurement. That ball is really close. Nonetheless, East Brunswick will have 2 downs here to try to pick up this 1st down.
All right, Jason Brenner in and Chris Bettis out. Oh, I thought there was some movement, Jim.
Well, Hops plunged ahead, got the 1st down.
It scared me. I thought the Bears had a little premature movement in the backfield. Apparently, the officials didn't pick up on it, Jim.
That important 1st down by the Bears enables them to take more time off the clock. And you got to, if you're Sayreville, you got to be thinking about using maybe some of your timeouts here pretty soon.
It's the dive or the keep.
And it's a give to Corio, and he gets good yardage.
I'll tell you, that offensive line, there's
now
a flag.
The flag comes.
And maybe is it that flag we've been talking about? Let's see.
Well, let's see who gets the blame on this one. We talked about the players needing the ability to hold on to their emotions.
Personal foul.
And it's against Sayreville.
Okay.
And who gets the call here?
Of course, like the pros, they don't tell you, Jim, but we saw it coming sooner or later. And it was after the play was over.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're Sayreville, you've been flirting with that for the last 5 minutes, actually. So I'm not really surprised by that call. And you talk about a crippling penalty.
A big one, that's for sure.
That brings the ball down inside the 20-yard line. So East Brunswick, with 3:38 left in this game, knocking on Sayreville's door. Setter Adam Goldstein is doing an incredible job all afternoon. Hops keeps it.
Fumble!
There is a fumble.
Oh, mercy. Mercy.
And looks like Sayreville has
Mercy.
it. Phil, I got to tell you, I thought that Hops had his face masked.
Well, I didn't see that, Jim, and apparently no one else saw it. They did see that ball pop up, however, and again, an excellent opportunity for the Bombers.
Well, they are deep in their own territory.
They're deep in their own territory.
Any solace for East Brunswick.
But we've seen them go an awfully long way before once they're deep in the territory, Jim. They have nothing to lose at this juncture.
All righty. So here we go. East Brunswick's defense is called on once again. Ball, Kemple keeps it. He's going to the right. And he is met.
What pursuit by the Bears.
That was a terrific job.
I'll tell you got a number of players over there.
And very rarely has Sayreville had any opportunity to run this afternoon, especially in the second half.
You got Corio, Russ Leota, 66.
Masterful job. And with no gain on that play, it brings up a 2nd down and 10.
Larry Benson as well.
2:45 left to go.
Excellent pursuit.
East Brunswick is up 12-7. Kemple back, he throws it, and it's long.
He's off, Jim.
He hasn't been on all afternoon with the pass.
He hasn't been on, and I really thought he's a better passer, Jim. If he is, we haven't seen it today.
That pass was intended for Gangadal, and that ball was nowhere near him. So it is a 3rd down and 10 on the 18,
well,
17-yard line.
When you're in a situation like this, what you want to do, you want to get the ball to your best player on the field, in the hands of your best player. You can look for him to somehow to try to get this ball in Joseph's hands.
And Joseph is flanked to the near side of the field. Kemple actually looks to the right, and the ball is caught.
Oh!
And number 80 is the one who makes that reception. That's Vinny Procaro, and he drags his way up to 1st down.
I'll tell you,
boy, that was a clutch play by the Bombers.
I'll tell you, holding on there for the Bears. Didn't pick up the number, Jim, but did a good job to hold on, to pull them down.
Okay, a 1st down for the Bombers. Ball on the 29. They still have a long way to go. Clock ticking with 2:15 left. Kemple drops back, looking for Joseph here.
It's
on
up
a
for
flare.
grabs.
But boy, oh boy.
Oh!
Well, the ball,
interference they're going to call.
they're going to call
The guy's on the ground. I don't know how you can call it, Jim.
Really, how can you make a call like that when the ball couldn't be caught?
The thing is, the defensive back there, Jim, number 6, who's done a good job.
Oh, boy.
Dave Yesner had his back turned. If he could have just turned around a little bit, he'd have been waiting for him.
Well, it's going to be a 15-yard penalty, and that's going to give Sayreville another 1st down on the 47-yard line.
And again, the ball was just windmilling up there, Jim, and Yesner did a good job on coverage and whatnot. But if he could have just turned around a little bit, he would have saw the ball there. And as you saw, Jim, I saw the receiver go down, and it didn't appear to be from contact, and then the guy fell over him. And nevertheless, the interference was called.
All right, so the ball's actually on the 43-yard line, and 2 minutes and 5 seconds left to go in the game. Sayreville is starting to march here. Kemple drops back. Joseph, and gets around one man, dinks around another.
Oh,
and a saving tackle by Bettis.
Chris Bettis again.
And another first down for the Bombers.
Another first down. Bettis coming up with another big tackle. Joseph looked like he was just turning on the burners, and Bettis stopped him before he could get going too much. But again, the Bombers appear to be on the move.
First down on the 47-yard line of East Brunswick. Clock ticking with 1:45 left to go in the game. Sayreville with all 3 timeouts. Kemple is going to go long, and it's a little overthrown there.
Good coverage by American. I'll tell you, they tried it down on up, and American was there all the way. Again, you got the Bombers in their 2-minute drill package right now, trying to pull something out.
Clock showing just 1:36 left in the game. East Brunswick holding on to a 12-7 lead. And I'll tell you what, they've been somehow able to keep Sayreville with just 7 points on the board.
The question is, do you blitz? Do you get an all-out blitz here and take a chance?
Second and 10.
May bust one, or
this is Kemple. Throws a hot one.
Ooh.
High again. We've been saying that all afternoon.
I'll tell you, he has not been on, really, Jim. He has not been on passing-wise. And we talked about the top of the game that we thought the Bears' pass defense, based on the Edison game, was somewhat suspect, but clearly the Bombers have not been able to take advantage of it.
So it is 3rd down and 10 for Sayreville. Now in a similar situation, the Bombers were successful in converting. So now we will watch. Kemple. Down the middle, and it is a great play.
I'll tell you, great play.
Great play by Yesner. Knocked that ball away.
I'll tell you, it might have been a great, I don't know if he knocked it away. Vinny Picaro had that ball in his hands, Jen. It hit nothing but hands. He just did not hold on to it.
Phil, I'll tell you what, I thought the ball was in his hands, and Yesner did enough just to knock it out.
Okay, that may be. You get that close in your hands, you got to grab that one.
So the game really rests down with this last play here. You would think with a 4th down and 10 on the ball on East Brunswick's 46, if Sayreville does not make a first down, East Brunswick would be in very, very good shape.
Okay.
Straight drop back pass. It's a screen.
To Joseph.
And Petty. And do they stop him? Yes. No, they don't. I'm sorry. They get a first down.
And Jim, it's just like I said before. When you're in a critical situation, you get the ball in the hands of your best player. And clearly the best player for the Bombers is Joseph. And that's just what they did there. So they have new life.
And boy, you talk about an exciting finish here. Minute 10.
Okay.
So Sayreville breathes new life. The ball is on the 33-yard line. They need a touchdown. Kemple flares one out, and they wrestle him down.
Okay, good job.
And I think they're going to have to call a timeout here.
And once again, Brian Marigan on the tackle there.
47 seconds. They're not using any other timeouts. There you go. Boy, I'll tell you what, Phil, they wasted about 10 seconds on that.
Surprisingly.
There's a gain of about 4 yards here. Boy, if you're East Brunswick, what do you do here to defense this?
I'll tell you, the Bears...
You've been saying keep somebody on Joseph.
Well, Joe, clearly. Jim, it doesn't, take a whole lot to figure out when you're in critical... And if you check all the teams, all the pro teams and college teams and whatnot, they want to do is get the ball in the hands of your best player most of the times. And probably more so on the high school level here.
You know what, we have a quick break here. I forgot to mention this, but for all you winter and spring athletes, you have one more chance for your physicals. Pre-physicals are going to be on October 17th at 2:30 p.m. at East Brunswick High School, and doctor physicals are going to be October 19th at 1:30 p.m. at the high school. So see Mr. Knoppenberger or check with your coach if you need more information.
Okay, Jim, as you point out, 44 seconds left in this game. Najar talking to his troops right now. Nick Spadafino coming off the field, having spoken to his defensive troops, and the play is called from the bench.
44 seconds left to go in the game. Sayreville with 2 timeouts. This is Kemple. He pumps once.
Oh,
he's going to be wrestled to the ground by
Serapin.
Serapin.
Joel Serapin. And Jim, I said it at the top of the game, Joel Serapin may not make as many tackles as some other players, but he always comes up with the big play and the big hit.
And that was the big play right there.
That was the big play and a big hit.
All right, let's set the stage here for you. Sayreville calls another timeout. They have 1 left. Ball is on the 37-yard line. It's 3rd and 13 for Sayreville. East Brunswick is leading 12-7. 33 seconds left to go in the game.
And I tell you, Najar on the field here, I tell you, this is what it's all about here. Truly exciting here. He's coming in. You gotta believe it's a pass play of some sort, Jim. But then again, everybody's looking for the pass, and the defense will be blown in there. Do you try to slip one by him with Joseph?
I think you just keep somebody on Omar Joseph.
Wherever
That's what
he
you
goes.
do. Wherever he goes.
And here we go.
Okay. 3rd and 13. There's a missed
motion.
Motion is right. This play is going to come back.
That's going to come back.
Wow.
I don't think they were set for a full play, Jim.
That's precisely the point. They have to be set for 1 second. This is another crucial penalty for Sayreville.
They,
all right, East Brunswick, of course, is going to take this penalty. And through all this, 6 seconds is erased from the clock. So we're down to 27 seconds, and it's 3rd and 16 for the Bombers.
Boy, sure would like to see these people on their feet right now.
I was going to say, everybody's seated
Seated down. You know, they're enjoying the game, but I sure would like to see them on their feet right now making some noise.
Now we're at the point where Sayreville needs to be getting not only the first down, but they got to get the ball close to the goal line because time is definitely of the essence. All right, Kemple looks like he's pulling some sort of audible at the line. Straight drop back, looking for some room to run. He's going to take it himself, and he's going to get out of bounds. Ooh. Hops with a good hit.
I'll tell you, he should have stepped out of bounds. He got no more yardage. He just got that hit from Hops unnecessarily.
Assistant coach Mike Vanella here was yelling. He thought that a white cap that went down there was a flag. In actuality,
it's a marker.
It's not a marker. It's a gain down to the 32-yard line, and it'll be another 4th down for Sayreville. This is it for them.
20 seconds, folks.
4th and 8 for the Bombers. They have but 1 timeout left.
And you got to continue to keep the pressure on Kemple.
Okay, pressure they will do. Watch for Joel Serapin, number 99. This is Kemple. He lofts a pass, and it,
oh, Chukan! Oh, mercy!
Look at this.
Oh, mercy!
With 12 seconds left to go, number 10 for Sayreville,
Ryan
Paul. We haven't called his number often.
Ryan DePaul.
And wow, eludes a tackle, and Sayreville gets into the end zone, takes a 13-12 lead. And boy, I'll tell you what, this is going to be a crusher for the Bears.
A stunned crowd here. If you're here on the Bear side, a just utterly stunned crowd. And if you're on the Bomber side, you can see.
You know what? Give Sayreville a lot of credit for withholding their celebration right there. They call their last time out. Little difference it'll make.
Just stunning, Jim. And the Bears had done a marvelous job up until that point of bending but not breaking, not allowing them to in this last series.
Bill, you got to go back to that fumble by Hops with about 3.5 minutes left to go. 3 separate situations, Sayreville was able to convert a 4th down play. I mean, you got to give them credit. They did it when they had to.
They did it when they had to, which is the point there. And Ryan DePaul, 6 foot, 205-pound senior, tight end, took the ball and did what most tight ends are supposed to do, broke a tackle and took it in for a TD. And it is just a stunner.
So therefore, Sayreville looks like they're going to come away here with a win and extend their undefeated record to 4-0. Not much to say.
But just
East Brunswick has been doing the job the entire afternoon.
Well, they've played probably one of the better games that we've seen, Jim, all around offensively and defensively against a very talented team. And
so this homecoming crowd's going to be disappointed. Ball sort of falls errantly away. American offers at it. And so with East Brunswick now going to receive this kickoff with 12 seconds, you got to bet that Sayreville's not going to do anything fancy here except roll the ball.
Well, they haven't been kicking deep anyway. They've just sort of been squibbing it all along. But again, just a hushed crowd and just a stunner, Jim.
12 seconds left to go in the game. Ryan DePaul hauls in a pass from Justin Kemple, who has been really off the entire afternoon, and rambles 32 yards for the touchdown that puts Sayreville ahead 13-12. And boy, have we had exciting games here between Sayreville and East Brunswick.
Every time they hook up, Jim, it seems to be one for the books. It seems to be really a classic every time they hook up, and this game certainly has been no different.
So Bell will kick off, and it's not going to be much of a kick, I imagine. It's a squiggler. Petty's going to pick it up. And he looks for some room, but he's brought down, and there is 8 seconds left to go in the game. So East Brunswick will, one last gasp, try to do something here.
Well, we've seen stranger things, Jim, but
East Brunswick, which has not used a timeout this half, I believe, will use this one now.
And as you see, Marcus Borden taking a walk out on the field and whatnot, he certainly hasn't given up, and he's going to try to come with a big play here to see if they can pick up something here. And actually, if they can come up with a long pass to the sideline and set up a potential field goal, you have an opportunity there. It's again, it's a long ways. We're talking about a Hail Mary, or we're either talking about.
Well, you know, you got to really feel bad for East Brunswick. They played just such an excellent game. That line had done a wonderful job.
Well, Jim, it's not over yet. There's still 8 seconds.
Well, in my mind, it is. But you're right.
They got the prevent defense on. You see how deep the Bombers are playing, way off the ball. And
here comes Hops, who gives it to Petty, and he falls down. And 1 second, 0. I believe that's it. Nope.
No, they got a second left, Jim.
Did they call a timeout?
Remember, it's time's kept on the field there. Let's see.
That is what the officials are talking about. 1 second, the official holds up a single finger.
And of course, we can expect the Hail Mary.
You can expect anything you want. You can expect rain at this time. I just don't think it's going to do any good. All right, well, if East Brunswick has a play in its book that causes misdirection to the school bus for Sayreville, I would call it.
I'll tell you, a painful one at this juncture, Jim.
Well, taking a look at the East Brunswick schedule, while we have a quick moment here, the Bears are going to travel to Piscataway next week. Will they take on the Chiefs, who are one of the better teams in the conference. And then the following week, October 25th, they will be back here at East Brunswick.
Versus?
Woodbridge.
Ooh.
Sorry.
They don't get any breaks. They got Perth Amboy, then South Brunswick.
Well, take a look at this lineup. Looks like a soccer lineup. Hops, lofts a long one. Merrigan bounces off of somebody, and the ball falls to the field. You hear the gun, and that is the end of the game.
Merrigan
the final
better get out of there.
score.
He's being trampled underneath the celebration.
Yeah. Final score. Sayreville would have come back.
And if you look out,
13-12.
And if you look out on the field, you see some of the Bear players, man, they're just stunned.
Yeah, they are.
And they have a right to be stunned. They played this game certainly well enough to win. Certainly they had it in their hand. It's just the big play. Ryan DePaul again. Seldom used tight end. Gathered the ball in, broke a tackle, and the rest is history. But a well-played game by both teams, and a very tough one for the Bears to swallow at this juncture, Jim. But they'll have to bounce back.
And bounce back they will have to next week against Piscataway. Boy, I'll tell you what, this is one of the tougher games, tougher losses for East Brunswick since we've been covering these games, Phil.
Sure.
It really has.
And
it evens East Brunswick's record to 2-2. They will go against Piscataway. Meanwhile, Sayreville extends its record to 4-0. And suddenly they're starting to look in fairly decent shape as a threat for the Central Jersey Group 4 playoffs.
Oh, boy, they're a quality team. But again, they have a number of people to play yet. They have to play South Brunswick. I see Keith Hudak here scouting for South Brunswick. So
you're right.
That's a pretty tough team. I believe they have Woodbridges. Oh, they have Woodbridge yet as well.
Yeah.
So you never know. You never know.
Well, that's going to do it from J. Doyle Field here this afternoon. And homecoming, a disappointing crowd leaves as East Brunswick drops a 13-12 game to Sayreville. It was an exciting game, but nonetheless a loss for East Brunswick. So for Phil Hill, this is Jimmy Allinder saying thanks for joining us.